guys, welcome to PQ, where we watch and talk about music as classical musicians. In today's video, we're gonna dive into the world of jazz, something that I really enjoy listening. I have to admit I don't know much about compared to classical music, but I am very excited actually. This video is from one of our supporters on Buy Me a Coffee. It's from RF, so thank you RF for your song request and for your support. This is Bill Evans and Blue and Green, take 3. I know that based on the comments, apparently the composer is something of a bit of a controversy. So I'm not sure if Bill Evans is the composer as well, or he just plays it. But anyway, we're just gonna listen to this link that he sent us.
Well, I'm also very excited because this is like actually a little closer to our field. I mean, I'm also not that familiar with jazz music as much as classical music, but I'm very excited to see what would a person recommend us from the jazz world to see.
Pause here. I don't think there is a good cadence here to pause because I was waiting for like a good I don't know, like a little bit of a resolve, but it feels like actually there's not there's not much of that happening here. It just like feels going and going, which brings me to my first comment about even though especially mostly in the beginning, it was kind of like fragments of like motifs or like chords here and there. So it was kind of like sparse. And as we went on and on, it was less sparse, but still it was like in fragments. But it there was like such a flow to it, so I didn't realize that when was the exact moment that it started like adding more embellishment, because it started very like minimal, and then very very like
Mm.
very fewer notes. But then as we went on, he started to kind of like obviously improvise or like structured improvise on that. But there was not a single moment that I feel like, okay, this is done, and then we are in the section that he's going to improvise or embellish all those chord progressions. So it was like such a flow to it that it felt so natural as we went.
Yeah, I have to say that. I mean, I can talk about the music a little. That how interesting um, how interesting was that the drums had a very structured and like completely, you know, serious. If it's a good word for it, even rhythm, but then how free the piano was, and also like semi-free the pizzicatos were from the double bass. And also it was also interesting that exactly what you said, how it was um, how it started very minimal, and very like minimal in not composing
Mm-hmm.
way, in a, I don't know, in a volume way, that it was very like it start from kind of nothing, and it was so in a passive way, and then it, as it went, it got more active and more loud and more built it, it built it up more. But you didn't realize it. I mean, I want as you did the pause, I was like, oh, the last thing that I was hearing was so active and so like purposeful, I don't know how to say,
Yeah.
compared to the to what we started from the beginning, and it was such a smooth ride through there. But I mean, I wanted to say that I can talk about all of this musically, that how beautiful it was, but for me the whole time I was completely in another way, a world, and I was imagining myself in a, I don't know, sometimes in a rainy place, but not like bad rainy, like a good a
Mm-hmm.
little rainy, or then in a sunny also. And then I was imagining myself sitting somewhere. I mean, I was completely in my head the whole time, and this music was completely in the passively in the background of my mind, and I traveled to, I don't know, somewhere else completely. And for me it's very interesting, because I don't remember if until now a music other than jazz, I mean, I didn't listen to jazz so much, but even the few times that I listened, I don't remember that the music, other music than jazz, would do the same thing, that is completely in the background of my head, and then I will travel to somewhere else.
The feeling that it mostly evoked for me was, I know we talked about how sparse it is, and then but at the same time it's flowy, structure, blah blah. But there was such a sense of, I guess, loneliness and nostalgia uh, from this song. Yeah, it just really feels uh, like very isolated. I know you talked about like being the rain, being the sun. To me, it doesn't evoke
Mm,
that positive sense of like being someplace. It just has the feeling of isolation somewhere, maybe somewhere remote, and it's like maybe a lonely person that hasn't seen anybody for years, like lives somewhere, like I can picture like a very like cold place, like a cottage or like a barn that is in the middle of snow, and then so, like
mm,
maybe like a guy lives there, and then just, I don't know, it just feels that, and then he goes back to his memories with maybe like growing up or before. I don't know, it just feels like a little bit, I guess sad is just such a general thing to call it. I guess like very like nostalgic, I would say. Um, really like
mm,
that's the feeling that I get, especially because I guess it's like very common in jazz to have like fragments of motifs, and even when you go embellish things, you don't have like long gestures or long melodies. Maybe on like classical music, sometimes, especially in the romantic period, that you have really long phrases, and your job as a musician is to really carry through and really make sure you are not chopping up that big phrase. But here everything was like in fragments, and it's like a little bit here,
mm,
a little bit there, but then the whole thing is like floats over that, I guess, for bar line. So it was for like time signature, but it really has like a sense of flowiness to it. So yeah,
mm.
that's what I got from it, honestly.
It's interesting how different the feeling that we get from the same music was, because maybe it comes from our personality, because for me, being an introvert or doing something alone, or like go somewhere to a cafe and sit somewhere, or have a small house alone in the middle of nowhere, for me is like a heaven. It's not
Yeah.
something negative that I say
Oh,
loneliness in a negative way.
yeah.
I would say that it's really peacefully and free for me. So yet it gave me exactly this kind of introvert, or doing something alone, or be somewhere alone, but in a good way,
Oh,
not in a negative way.
interesting.
And I have to say, it wasn't a cadence that you paused, but it was funny because exactly after you paused, and after you continue to the song, it exactly changed the thing that I said about the drums, that it was like
Yeah.
very structured rhythm. Completely, the whole structure changed, and it became more like, it was like it felt apart, because until then, there was a rhythm structure to it with the drums, and then the double bass was here and there, but it was obvious what it's doing, and the piano also was like in a more structured way. But from then, I feel like it just it was like, okay, I just sit somewhere, and just it just fell apart, not in a bad way. It's just like sit and then just let go, and it felt more free and like settle down. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like the second part was completely a different feeling from the first part.
Yeah, and I guess we knew that like in jazz music, there is like a lot of like chords that are not just necessarily major and minor, a lot of like extensions of ninth, 11, 13, which means like if you're playing, actually I got the music so I can look at it a little because it was so interesting. But I just want to look up the chords. So for example, if you're playing like a, I don't know, G minor chord, you're not just playing a G minor, you add the 7th, you add the 11th, and then you just make it up from there or build it up from there. So you kind of like make like a chord like that. And I know that that's kind of the staple and the signature of jazz music a lot, that you add a lot of chord. And honestly, it's a little bit of a scary word for me because I'm not that familiar. Even just looking at the chords, I mean, I understand that, but some of them are like, oh my god, how do you even like calculate that? I guess because in a like a not jazz, if I have the lead sheet, I can just play the chord. But here, I really have to think about some of them and find them, and because there's a lot of augmented chords, there's some diminished chords here. But I love that here, that there is actually, let's see how many bars is it. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. It's actually a 10 bar or 10 measure section instead of, I guess in blues it's like a 12 bar blues that they call, and then they have like a harmony progression for that. But every time, so every 12 measure it's the same harmony progression, but then everything changes, like embellishment wise, or like you just can improvise on it. But it's interesting that it's 10, which is, I don't know why is that. Maybe that's why it had such a different feeling. So anyway, yeah, so this is I like the to look at the structure, because 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, yeah, every time is 10 bars, and then it just goes all on, and it repeats. So if we are in the same chord progression and then we change it in the different sections.
Yeah, actually, I have to say thank you so much, RF, for suggesting that, because I'm that kind of person that likes to have a music background, always like the movies. And based on my mood or what I'm doing or what happened, I'm like, okay, the perfect song for this situation would be that, so I want to listen to that. And I mean, jazz it matched perfectly to some of the things that I want to do, you know, like everyday life. So I think I will definitely listen to jazz more often after
Interesting.
this one.
Yeah, cool. Okay. So yeah, thank you, RF, for your song suggestion and for your support again. We thoroughly enjoyed it, and we hope you guys enjoy that as well. Let us know if you want us to listen to more jazz, blues, or maybe any other genre than the ones that we've been listening to, and we would be happy to explore them. We have some ideas, but we want to hear from you guys and make sure you guys like the videos we put out. So please go ahead and drop your suggestions in the comments. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. If you want to support us more, there's a Buy Me a Coffee link in the description. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.